Man, so about the Pistons championship window right now, is it open? Um, uh, and quite frankly, I believe it is. Obviously, I think a lot of it has to do with the Eastern Conference. Right now, whoever thought Tyrese, you know, Halliburton would have that big of an impact on the Indiana Pacers, but it seemed like they forgot how to play basketball. And, this is why I stress the importance of the impact of a true point guard. You see what LeBron, I don't care what they say, LeBron a point guard. You see what he can do, Magic, Isaiah. When you have a true point guard, not some of these guys that's cosplaying as point guards, when you start talking about guys like Russell Westbrook, Shea Gilgeous Alexander, I'm talking about a true point guard. It gives you a chance, a guy who understands how to control the maestro, when to get this guy the ball, when to pick it up and score. And, I think Detroit got that in Cade Cunningham, and they got a lot of good guys. But I think the main thing is, I think if Troy Weaver could have had a guy like Terajan Langdon with him and really they merge what they think, I think they would have been a powerful tandem as far as basketball operations, whether it was, Troy Weaver's eye for drafting talent, but Terajan Langdon excels in knowing how to make talent work with each other. He knows exactly what they need. You like Javonte Green? Okay, Javonte, okay. All right. Hey, man, great fit. He seen Malik Beasley. It was a great fit. And you start to look at some of his eye, not just for talent, but his ability to put pieces, to put stuff together, to paint the vivid picture. He's done a great job. So you're talking guys like Javonte Green, Dennis Jenkins, Paul Reed. They have a vision, and it's starting to come to light. Ultimately, they're going to need another piece, or somebody's going to need to grow into that next piece. And I think they're probably most likely going to go out there and get that other piece more now than ever, because you got Ivy, contract year, Tobias contract year. You got Marcus Sasser, who's starting to become expendable because of what Dennis Jenkins is doing. So, even any sports you're talking about, still the guys that you find second round, or the guys you can find that go undrafted or bounce around, that's still a recipe for success, right? That's what Pat Riley's done his whole career in Miami. Whether it was Jaime Jimenez and all these different guys they find that work well within the Miami Heat system. They might go other places and they might not work well, but they work well in Miami. And Detroit is starting to get the reputation from Terajan Langdon that they finding guys and they just work perfect here. They work perfect under what they believe in and what they want to do. And it's like, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley and, Tobias hitting. And this year he did it again. It's like that song, A Million with Jay-Z. I did it again. And he knows exactly what he wants, what the type of players he wants. And I think that window is open for the Pistons, and they're running up the score. This is what you want to do in the NBA. You want to run up as many wins as possible early on. That way you can just manage your way in to the playoffs and, game manage or load manage your way into the playoffs. You want to separate yourself early on. OKC knew this. The Cleveland teams with LeBron back in the day, they knew this. That one Orlando team. You want to get as much separation. You want to have home court advantage, and you want to be able to manage your personnel, down that stretch where he can get a rest, so you can go into the playoffs with a rhythm. You can go into the playoff with a rest, and that's the biggest thing is they got off to such a fast start. They getting off to a fast start, and that's what you want. Chicago, like, damn, okay, they getting off to a fast. They came down to earth. So you want that fast start. Cleveland, the last couple of years, they've been getting off to fast starts. You want to get off to that fast start, man. It's imperative. But yeah, that window is open. Right now it's Milwaukee is solid this year. I'm watching a couple of their games. They solid, and then you look over at the class of the East. I think right now it's the New York Knicks. They're really solid and good right now. So yeah, that's who you're going to have to go through. I think Orlando will get it together. Cleveland give us some problems. So it's some of them teams that we're going to have to go through for sure. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, we one of them ones for sure. But yeah, they got the recipe for a championship caliber team, and the landscape for it. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it make a lot of sense. Even if they don't push for it, I mean, they got a lot of guys back, and the ace in the hole is Ivy, and it's just seeming like, okay, that's not meant to be. That's what it seemed like. That ain't meant to be. So I think they'll make a move, but even right now, they growing together. They understand the right fit of guys and how guys are gonna fit in the locker room. The guys are close knit, and I think OKC really set a great precedent for the league to go in the right direction, which is, I ain't got to go get a superstar. We're gonna grow our guys together. And they did it before with Harden and KD and Russell, and we seen why that didn't work over a couple $1 million a year for Harden. But right now they're doing the same thing with their guys. They're keeping their guys together. They're growing a bunch of young guys together, not looking to get big name free agents. But I will say this about the Pistons: when you got an opportunity to get guys that fit what you want, and that's up to them, whether it's Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Lauri Markkanen, whether it's Zach LaVine or some of these other guys, whether you believe in Zion, John Morant, Trae Young, or it could be a lot of lower level guys out there. And if you feel like they are great fits for what you do and they're available, you can get them. Whether it's a Devin Booker or somebody like that. So, if you feel it's a good fit, if not, keep it together. But honestly, that the window is now. A lot of them guys keep growing together. You're not spending a lot of money on free agents. You're signing your own guys. Sound like the Lions, right? Signing your own guys. You're doing your thing, and but at the end of the day, Terajan got to put a twist on it himself. Whether it's you going out to get somebody else, get them. These guys available. Lions set up to win. Pistons set up to win now and later, as long as they don't trade too many assets. They got all their draft picks. I mean, but it's just how unselfish they are. It's a big unselfish trait when you talk about basketball is these guys' ability to defend. These guys, Duncan Robinson may not be the best defender in the world, but he gives an effort. These guys come in here and the expectation, no matter how good a three-point shooter is, no matter how good of a scorer you is, no matter how popular you is with a name on the back of that jersey, you're going to defend. That's what we hang our hat on, defending. And, that's why that's the biggest unselfish act that they can have right now is their ability to defend. So anybody that come in here, you're going to give it. You don't have to have an A+ for effort to defend. And they share the ball and they love each other and they go to the right guy. They pass the ball to the hot hand. If the ball don't stick, it's no egos involved. Let's get it. We want to get better. And the East is there. Guys like Toronto, they're a young team. A lot of them young players, they playing well. The Knicks are going to be right there. Cleveland going to be right there. I think Orlando will get it together. The Hawks finding out we a little bit better without Trae Young. So you might see a shift in power there. So Chicago, they was a little surprised of the East for a minute, right? They were surprised of the East for a minute, and maybe they continue to be a surprise and everything come together. But right now, the East is open, and I feel like the West is open. To be honest, it's OKC. Outside of OKC, I feel like the Western Conference is open. I really do. I feel like the West is open as well too, because from the simple fact that the Western Conference is like no outside of OKC, man, it's a lot to be determined out there. Minnesota, they got to get it together. The Pelicans fired Detroit's own Willie Green, which I don't think it was his fault. I know Joe Dumars, it wasn't his guy. It was David Griffin's guy, whatever the dude that came from Cleveland. That was his fault. Houston, they still, figuring out the camaraderie with everybody. They lost Fred VanVleet. So a lot of people say they need a point guard. So they talking about De'Aaron Fox, since Ron Harper's son was doing well before he got injured with San Antonio. You go over there and you look, Ja Morant situation. So the West got a lot going on. The Lakers, they can fill it up with their backcourt, and what's going to happen with LeBron. He under gambling investigation, his associates. So it's just a lot going on out there. Houston, Phoenix, Dallas, where they get it together, where they blow it up, and that might direct impact us if they blow it up, and we may look at them for some pieces over there. So yeah, out west, Denver. Denver is still gonna be Denver. They got rid of Michael Porter Jr., put a couple more pieces around them. They going right now. Really, it all boils down to the fact, will Jamal Murray be healthy? So yeah, I think anything can happen, especially with the high injury rates today. But the Pistons play with a toughness, a grit that not too many other teams play with right now. Everybody flamboyant, and I think us and Oklahoma City Thunder, that's why when we play them, it's such a great clash, is that, they gritty. They still looking to get respect. Shea getting this respect, but really the rest of them, Jalen Williams, Shat Holmgren, Wiggins, all those other guys over there, they looking to get their respect too. That they, even being champions and being a huge part of what they did, Dort, they looking for respect as well too. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Check out Detroit Piston Talk playlist. Hit the link tree. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, the whole 9. Peace.